do you still have some musical dreams in your heart that you've still not achieved that you're working towards?
Um, I mean, sure, yeah. Boy, I'd like to headline Red Rocks. That would be incredible. I've played there once as an opener with Serena. We opened for One Republic there, and I'd heard about it and seen, I saw the YouTube video or the YouTube video and all the other performances and stuff. But being there was like was religious. And the idea of headlining Red Rocks, like looking out from a drum riser on Red Rocks, would be something else. And doing it with Big Rep would be, I mean, that it's definitely, when they say bucket list, that's not like, that's like, yeah, that's the top. Certainly.
Before you add any others, I remember owning a Incubus Live at Red Rocks DVD. And then yesterday I watched, there's a brand new Bill Burr special that's him live at Red Rocks. Anyways,
Oh,
just
wow.
dropping that in now. And then if you have more musical dreams, you can.
A Grammy be neat. I think a small dream is, I'm really, really proud of this, these EPs and this subsequent album that we did. I really do feel, and I don't brag a lot, but I really do feel that we are one of the better bands in this country. And it would be a real shame to me if more people didn't get a chance to hear the stuff. The EP is doing decent. This last one, I think is number one, was number one for a few weeks on the rock charts, and number two behind Drake's on Canada iTunes. Or Canada's Apple Music, and it would have been number one if Drake didn't put an album out. So I feel confident that it's getting its due in certain places. But a real dream for me would be like, a Grammy would be nice, but I would love a Juno. Not even. I know it sounds crazy, but just so that people in this country understand, like, this guy is still at it. This guy Ian Thornley, he's still at it, and the band is better than it's ever been. Like I feel complimented in hearing from multiple people that this is the best lineup that's ever been. Because as somebody who was a fan, I thought that lineup, at the time was it. So it would mean a lot for sure if people over time just, and I'm not even talking about record sales. I'm just talking about acknowledging that, this is one of the better bands, and has been for decades, one of the better bands this country's ever produced.
When you look back on your life and career, what are you most proud of and what are you most grateful for?
Being in this band is, and these EPs is certainly one of them. It might be top one, but playing in 24/7 Spies was also pretty seminal. Just, and it's not a lot of band that it's not a band rather that a lot of people know about. But for me, growing up, I'll be really quick about it. They were a band. Are you familiar with them at all?
Only because I was talking to Darren about them
No worries.
when I was getting the quote. Yeah,
for sure. So coming up again as a Black rock kid, coming up, it was three rock bands. It was Fishbone, it was Living Color, and it was 24/7 Spies. And those were my chance to see Black people playing hardcore or metal or heavy rock music or whatever, and doing it well. And Spies was more of the hardcore and metal variety than anything else. And they were always important to me. I won't go over the timeline of it, but they broke up, they got back together just through Facebook. I happened to reach out to the guitar player, the core guy of the band, and said, "Hey, I'm a fan. I'm so glad you guys back together. Thank you so much for what you've done. You've made people like me, by being, who you are." And we just got talking. They eventually had a falling out with the drummer. He asked me to come to New York to audition for the band. And I didn't think I was going to get it. Like, it's like, that's letter A and I'm letter Z. Like, I'm the byproduct of these people. Like, I'm not going to be in the band. But I'm going to go and meet the bass player and the guitar player who are the band, and they're my idols. So I'm just going to meet them, and that's plenty. So I flew down to New York, and I locked myself in the rehearsal space before that for 2 days, and just 8 hours a day, just learning the stuff backwards. I couldn't play double bass drum pedal. There was some double bass drum pedal on the songs that I just would make up for with the floor tom and the kick, like just to, and then went down to the audition, and 4 songs in, they were like, "Yeah, it's your gig. Of course, you're killing it right now. You crushed it." And so, to me, walking out of that rehearsal space and back to my Airbnb at the time was, I mean, to say I was on cloud nine doesn't begin to describe it. Just, and it did. We ended up doing, like, I think, one show in the year that I was in the band, and then eventually Fish was there, and Fish saw that I was playing and saw that he was like, and they had asked him to play before, years before, and he'd said no due to some other commitments. And so now he was like, if you want me to play, I guess I could do it. And so they like, "Hey, we love you, but Fish is our boy. We've known Spies and Living Color and Fishbone toured a bunch, so they've known each other for years. They're the same age roughly, so it just made more sense for them. They were old friends for them to have him back, which was fine. But just knowing that I was the drummer for this band that I grew up listening to, just it's definitely one of the top moments of my life, even though I didn't really go anywhere. The stuff in terms of work that I've done, the stuff with Big Rec is, I could not be more proud of what we've done, and then on top of that, where we take it live when we play it, it's a whole other thing. So I really feel like I've come into a new life, a second life on the instrument, and a new love for playing, and I cannot wait for people to hear all these songs, and the feedback we've been getting has been phenomenal. So I feel pretty good. But again, as Ian puts it, like, listen, if this record does well, it doesn't do well, we're going to go down swinging. So I love that. I love that approach, So, yeah.
So final question, if you could go back in time and you could sit down next to your 10-year-old self, so you have cute little Sekou sitting there, and you have a lifetime of experience, of mentorship, of lessons, highs and lows.
Right.
What advice do you give little Sekou to help him through his life?
Get a teacher. Get a drum teacher. Get a drum teacher and learn to sing or play piano. These are two things I do not do. I do not sing or play piano. But I do feel, again, I'm turning 50 next year, and I really do feel like I taught myself to play. I still can't read music, but I've taught myself to play. And while I'm happy with what I've gotten, I feel like there's a glass ceiling that ability gets you, if you are just trying to brute force your way through learning things. There's things that I've figured out over the years that would have taken me a month with a good teacher, or a lesson with a good teacher, that I spent months or years trying to figure out. So I would have certainly told myself to get a teacher, to have the basis, the foundation of what I do be bigger and better, and learn a different instrument, so you have a better appreciation of songwriting and a better appreciation of what you bring to the table when you're playing drums. So certainly I would tell it to, and I have people asking me for advice, like, what do I do to be a session musician or to get to where you are? I tell them, I said, find a good teacher and listen to as much stuff as possible. But I already did that. So I would tell 10-year-old me, get a teacher, stay away from Vlada because she's just going to break your heart, and pick up another instrument,